My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Hi, I'm State Senator George Logan. You are tuned into the Senate Reports on this Tuesday, July 24th, 2018. So here we are today in my first segment. I'm going to talk about the tolls fight. Have you heard the news? Outgoing Governor Malloy wants to borrow $10 million of your money to finance a study to reinstate tolls in Connecticut and put the bill on your state credit card, which we'd have to pay off over the next 20 years for a study on tolls on I-95, tolls on I-84, tolls on I-91, tolls on the Merritt Parkway, tolls on Route 8. Can you imagine? The State Bond Commission is expected to vote on the $10 million allocation on Wednesday, tomorrow, July 25th. Tomorrow, if you want to help defeat this $10 million proposal, please, we need your help. I need you to do the following. Contact me as soon as you possibly can. Send me an email at george.logan@cga.ct.gov. Send me an email. Let me know what you think about this tolls proposal in your email, or you can just simply say, vote no on the tolls study. We will leave my email on the screen here, so you can send me a note right away. Send me that email. Use your phone, your smartphone, your computer, whatever it takes to get that email over to me to vote no on the tolls study. This is Governor Malloy's attempt to waste and borrow more of your money as he's walking out the door. Can you imagine? $10 million to study how we can tax you more by installing tolls, in effect, on our highways. So please, send me that email. Include your name and your town that you live in. And I want to get your message to Governor Malloy and the Bond Commission before tomorrow's meeting. I'm going to collect all those emails, and we're going to send a package out from my office to Governor Malloy and all the Bond Commission members, voicing our opposition to spending $10 million to study putting tolls in Connecticut. You know, there's a Valley paper that I read often, a Valley publication called the Waterbury Republican American, and they had an editorial recently called The Malloy Highway Toll Proposal, a $10 million boondoggle. They called this study a dumb idea, even if Connecticut could afford it, which we all know we can't. We are in a financial crisis. Why are we thinking about spending $10 million on a toll study? You know, when we can use that $10 million to hire a few more teachers, keep some schools perhaps open that are looking to be closed, where we could perhaps help maintain some of our senior programs that are out there and that are struggling. $10 million on a toll study. Now, there are some that would say that the way Governor Malloy is handling and approaching paying for this toll study that he wants, and it seems like just about everybody else in the state doesn't want, is in effect a bit anti-democratic. Ooh, yes, I said anti-democratic. Why would I say that? Well, advocates for tolls in the current General Assembly have been unable to garner enough votes to allow tolls back into Connecticut. There's some legislators that were actually in favor of tolls. They couldn't get the public support for installing tolls because folks are tired of being taxed and we certainly don't want to be have to pay tolls to drive back and forth to work now every day, on top of all the other property taxes and income tax and sales tax that we're paying. So some of those legislators that were sort of off the mark realized that they didn't have enough support throughout the state, so they couldn't get that toll bill passed. So now that they couldn't get it passed in the legislature during the last session, Governor Malloy's proposal by way of executive order, by way of trying to get this on the bond commission, is a blatant circumvention of our democratic process, right? You all elect legislators to go to Hartford to decide on which bills make sense. You know, we went through the whole committee process, public hearings for hours and hours. People came up from all across the state. There were meetings that were held in different communities throughout the state, and the toll bill died during the last session. You know, the Republican President pro tem, Len Fasano, he called out our lame duck Governor Malloy for proposing an irresponsible and egotistical waste of money as he heads out of office. I mean, Governor Malloy just can't let it go. He continues to try to find ways to hurt Connecticut in terms of this financial crisis that we're in. This $10 million toll study does not help us in any way, shape, or form. And this is not a partisan issue. This is not a Republican or Democratic issue. There are many folks on both sides of the aisle and many unaffiliated voters. These are voters, registered voters that are not Democrats nor Republicans. And they too, throughout the state, are not in favor of this toll study and installing tolls on our roads. Now, we even have, for example, the Democratic comptroller, Kevin Lembo. He said, "I do not support financing this study through bonding without legislative directive." And again, this is the comptroller, Kevin Lembo. These decisions should be left to the next governor and legislature. That's Democratic comptroller Kevin Lembo's opinion on bonding, basically taking out a loan to spend $10 million to study the tolls issue. So whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or one of the many, many unaffiliated voters out there, you are a taxpayer. So email me right now and speak your mind. This is your opportunity. Send me an email. Let me know what you think. We have had enough, of taking more money out of our pockets. Can you imagine putting tolls throughout the state of Connecticut? If you've got a 10 or 20 mile drive to and from work, you add up the numbers. At anywhere between 10 cents and 20 cents per highway mile, that's how much you'd have to pay for these tolls. Add that up over the course of the year, it could add up to hundreds, if not into the $1,000 range. And what if you drive to work? What if your spouse drives to work? You just doubled your toll expense by 2. What if you have children of driving age? My daughter, she's in high school. She just got her driver's license a month ago. She's going to be driving back and forth to school. She'd have to pay a toll as well. It adds up. This would hurt working families. It's a bad idea. The people of Connecticut have spoken. The legislature has spoken. And now Governor Malloy wants to try to circumvent the will of the people of the state of Connecticut by trying to, by executive order, get the bonding commission to approve taking out a loan to spend $10 million of your money on tolls. So I need you to email me, and get, let me know what you think about it. Please indicate vote no on the tolls study, and please feel free to, provide whatever opinions or information or thoughts that you have on the toll study, and I will get that information again over to Governor Malloy and to the bonding commission. So that's my take on the toll study. We've only got a day left in terms of getting the word out and getting this information and getting our voices heard before the bonding commission meets tomorrow, Wednesday, July 25th. Again, I'm your state senator, George Logan, your voice in Hartford, and I'm here to make sure that the voice of the people of my district, the 17th senatorial district, the people of Connecticut, that our voice is heard loud and clear by our governor and by those folks in Hartford that are making the laws, making the bills that can affect your daily life here in Connecticut. Again, State Senator George Logan, you're tuned into the Senate Reports. Please stay tuned for my next segment. Welcome back. I'm your State Senator George Logan, and you are tuned into the Senate Reports on this July 24th, 2018. In the last segment, I talked about the $10 million toll study that Governor Malloy is trying to push and force down on us. And again, I've asked many folks to email me and voice your opposition to spending $10 million on a toll study. Well, now I want to talk to you about Indiana. Yes, I know. I live in the state of Connecticut. We live in the state of Connecticut, but I need to talk to you about Indiana right now. Why would I want to talk to you about Indiana? Well, if you've driven on I-84 recently, particularly around the Hartford to Danbury area, perhaps you've seen the billboard. This is a billboard on I-84. Specifically, I saw one in the Waterbury area, and the billboard says, "Move your business to Indiana." That's right, a billboard in Connecticut that says move your business to Indiana. In a couple of radio shows this past week, I was on to discuss it, and the Department of Economic and Community Development Commissioner's reaction to it. You know, one of the commissioners there indicated that it was astounded that the states feel the need to compete so strongly against each other, right? Compete so strongly. Other states are very competitive. We need to be more competitive. We as the state of Connecticut needs to be more competitive, more pro-business. We need to have that competitive spirit in us in terms of helping ourselves get out of this financial crisis, supporting our businesses, helping our businesses grow. That's where we need to be. So whenever you see it, tell yourself, right? We need more pro-business lawmakers in Hartford. Use it as motivation to get active, and I urge you all to go out there and see that move your business to Indiana billboard on I-84. Use that as your motivation. It certainly motivates me to want to do more, and it motivates me to really want to continue with my message. And the message is that we need to operate Connecticut more effectively, more efficiently. We need to stop raising taxes. We need to stop adding and piling on regulations that's making it very difficult for businesses to thrive here in Connecticut. And why is that so important? It's so important because businesses are what hires people. And we need more people working. We need more people working and paying taxes. That is the best way to get ourselves out of this financial crisis that we're in. But when we do things that are very unfriendly to businesses, when we're taxing our residents, beyond what they can handle, right? There's a max, right? There has to be a max that folks can be taxed. And I would argue that we've already met and exceeded that maximum in terms of what folks can withstand. So by continuing to raise taxes and to push for things that take more money out of our pockets, out of the working families' pockets in Connecticut, it is making Connecticut less attractive for people to want to live here. We're certainly making it less attractive for businesses to want to work and expand their businesses and come to Connecticut. We should be attracting and working towards attracting other businesses to come to Connecticut. But right now, the word on the street is that Connecticut has high costs, slow growth, and as a result, this is something that's being seen throughout the nation. Folks are seeing that businesses are leaving the state, so they're trying to grab and entice those businesses to go to their states before they go to somewhere else. So we need to work doubly hard, triple hard to keep our businesses here in Connecticut. We have some wonderful businesses, a wide array of tremendous businesses, right? We have good manufacturing here in Connecticut. Think of companies like Sikorsky on the government side. Think of over in Groton, right? We have insurance companies here and all kinds of medical companies and services that are provided. I mentioned the military earlier with the Groton work that's done over there, aerospace. And how about all the service companies that we have here in Connecticut? Be it the restaurant and automotive, and the list goes on and on and on. And the quality of life that we have here in Connecticut is stupendous. I mean, folks want to come to Connecticut for the quality of life, right? The problem is that folks that are here can't afford it. And the word is out in the street that Connecticut is becoming less and less affordable for more and more people. And as a result, all of that is affecting the quality of life that we have here in Connecticut, right? So we have good education system here in Connecticut. It's the envy of folks throughout the country. Our natural resources that we have here in Connecticut for recreational opportunities, whether it's hiking or going to the beach or going on hikes on nature trails. Historical sites. We have so many wonderful historical sites here in Connecticut for folks to enjoy. Entertainment, music, theater, sports, all of that is at risk as we continue to be in the mire of this financial crisis. And as we continue to have leadership in Hartford that particularly over the last several years has only raised taxes, increased spending in areas that we cannot afford, like a $10 million tolls tax. Like, for example, recently Governor Malloy is pushing for spending another $10 million to entice a data company to come to Connecticut, which when you look at the financials of this company, it's kind of on shaky grounds. So why are we even considering investing $10 million of your taxpayer money on a company to come to Connecticut who doesn't even have a proven record of success? That's my example when I say we need to reprioritize how we spend our money. Also, I mentioned many times, Department of Motor Vehicles. It's an absolute disaster. The wait times are ridiculous. A few years ago, we spent tens of millions of dollars on a new computer system, and what happened? The lines got longer. Why? Because we didn't look at process flows. We didn't look at how do we go about renewing driver's license and car registrations. We just bought a new shiny computer system and did everything the same old, ineffective, inefficient way. We need different thinking going on in Hartford. We need better leadership. That's the way to get us out of our mess here. And I'm encouraging folks, to do what was done in Meriden just recently. Meriden taxpayers recently said enough is enough with tax hikes. They got active in Meriden. They voted down the tax hikes at a referendum because folks have had enough of the tax hikes. We've got to do a better job in government of managing the hundreds of millions of dollars that come up to the state from you, the taxpayers here in Connecticut. So we can do what Meriden did across the state, and make sure that we're active and use that motivation of that billboard on I-84 where Indiana has the nerve, has the gall to come here to Connecticut, take out an ad, a billboard to move your business to Indiana. You may ask yourself, well, why don't we just do the same thing in Indiana? Why? Because we get laughed at if we did that. Because companies are leaving Connecticut and we are not being leaders. We are not showing the stability and predictability that businesses need to want to be here and to be able to strive here in Connecticut. And until we do that, companies are going to continue to leave the state of Connecticut. There's a number of folks, including Governor Malloy and a lot of these Malloy progressives that are out there that are going to tell you that companies aren't leaving Connecticut. But if companies weren't leaving Connecticut, why would a state like Indiana spend money on a billboard in Connecticut to encourage companies to go to Indiana? Why would, just recently, within the last year, the governor of Florida, the governor, not a representative of the governor of Florida, the governor of Florida came to Connecticut, to the Stamford area, and he was bold enough to come and meet with Connecticut business owners to pitch those businesses, those Connecticut businesses moving to Florida. So, it's folks are gathering all around us. The states are looking at what's going on in Connecticut. We can change this. This is a leadership issue, and we need to get more representation, more legislators up in Hartford who are more pro-business friendly, that get it, that we have to stop raising taxes on our constituents, our voters, our residents here in Connecticut. So let me remind you why I ran for office. I'm an engineer. I'm an African-American Connecticut Republican from the Naugatuck Valley. I got sick of looking at those tax hikes and anti-business policies that were being passed in Hartford. So I ran against a 26-year incumbent Democrat. I knocked on many, many doors. I worked my tail off. I met with Democrats, I met with Republicans, and I met with many unaffiliated registered voters that are out there who like my pro-business, pro-taxpayer message. And I won the state Senate seat that had been solid Democrat for 26 years. And why is that? Why? Because this is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue for every resident here in the state of Connecticut. We need legislators that are going to go to Hartford and are not going to do their darndest to raise taxes as quickly as possible, that are not going to spend good money after bad money, and that get that we need more people working in Connecticut. We need to be more pro-business. We need to encourage job growth better than we've been doing particularly over the last several years. And I would argue that raising taxes and increasing regulations does not help job growth at all. It actually hurts job growth. And I won the state Senate seat, as I mentioned. Now we have a tie in the Senate, right? There's 18 Democrats, 18 Republicans, which has been very helpful in terms of blocking and not allowing tax increases. Last session we were able to pass a budget with no additional tax increases. I think that's a great story. It's good news. It's certainly in the right direction, but we need to keep going in that direction. Senator Fasano, our leader for the Connecticut Republicans in the Senate, he stated that we have a great pro-business group of folks in the legislature, and we need more like-minded folks. We have great pro-business senators like Senator Suzio and Senator Kissel and Senator Boucher and Senator Summers and Senator Linares, and Senator Hartley as well. We have folks, Republicans and some pro-business Democrats that are now able to block anti-business policies and tax hikes. We need more of us in Hartford. This is a beautiful state, great people and great businesses. We need to fight for our future and our children's future. Last week on the show, I interviewed Guylaine Manafé from the Black Business Alliance. We are focusing on growing minority-owned businesses as well as all other businesses here in Connecticut, and we can do it together. But we need to make sure that folks that we send to the state capitol are pro-business and pro-economic growth. Now, before I sign off, I just want to mention a few items that are going on in district, that have gone on in district. Last week, I was in Derby at the Kellogg Environmental Center. Again, I talk about wonderful sites to visit and things to do here in Connecticut. In Derby, we have a Kellogg Environmental Center near the Osborne State Park. And I participated in the Mad Hatter's Tea Crafting Workshop for kids. Also, last weekend, I was in Ansonia, and I visited different tag sales, because we had a citywide tag sale to benefit the Nature Center. Also, last week, I had a pizza and politics event in Naugatuck at Bellissimo's, and I met with the owner, Bedri Fuslio. We had a great time, a great meal, great conversation. Also, I went to Beacon Falls, and listened to some sweet music. Enjoyed the sounds of the Irish music band, the Carey Boys. I was also in Woodbridge at the Historical Society. They had an ice cream social. This is where we made ice cream by hand, the way it was done many decades ago. They're making it the old-fashioned way. I had a crank there. I even helped out making some ice cream there. Wonderful event. Also, I want to just mention really quickly an uplifting story in Hamden. Adele Volpe, she lost her home, which she and her husband had owned for more than 50 years when that May tornado ripped through Bethany, parts of Hamden, Naugatuck, and other areas throughout the state. But through the kindness of the staff at Benchmark Senior Living, she found safe harbor from the storm. This is Adele Volpe. Adele Volpe, 83 years old, said she was alone when the tornado hit. The next day, upset, she called Benchmark Senior Living to check on her husband, Mel, who has lived there for nearly 2 years, and she ended up telling them what had happened. Well, the Benchmark Senior Living folks immediately set off to get her out of her home and gave her a place to stay at Benchmark. And they helped her out with the temporary residence while insurance companies work on what to do and how to go about fixing her home or seeing what can be done in terms of her long-term living arrangement. But this is, again, the way our community is. We help each other out. We are there for our fellow men and women here in Connecticut, in the 17th District. And that's the kind of spirit that I like about my district. That's the kind of spirit that I like that we have here in Connecticut, helping each other out. Also want to mention to you that this Saturday, July 28th, Ansonia, there's going to be the Rock the Valley event. Starts at 4 o'clock. And yours truly is going to help to kick off the event by singing. Yes, I'm going to sing the national anthem at the Rock the Valley event in Ansonia this Saturday, 4 p.m. At the Nolan Field. Also, I want to mention that on August 2nd, my band, in addition to that, I play a little bit of a guitar. I have a band. My brother's my bass player. And we're going to be playing a concert at the Bijou Theater. This is a fundraising concert to benefit the United Way of Naugatuck and Beacon Falls. So this concert is at August 2nd in the Bijou Theater in Bridgeport. So hopefully you can try to make it to that event as well. On August 6th, there's a bike show that I'll be attending, a motorcycle bike show at the Valley Diner in Derby. Again, it's an event where folks come and bring their motorcycles, they raise a little bit of money, and they give it to a good local cause. So here I am, State Senator George Logan. This is the Senate Reports. Thank you for tuning in. Please have a wonderful and safe rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.